So to bail out SVB and Signature from their bankruptcies, the Fed actually printed $300 billion. Now, when they print money, they actually devalue ours. And the wealthy knows this. So the question is, how do the wealthy actually save money? Well, the answer is that they don't save money. They save in other assets. And the two assets that are most popular right now with the wealthy are Bitcoin and gold, and we're going to talk about both in this video. So Bitcoin broke back up above 30,000 yesterday, and we're not going to talk about the reasons why because that's not the topic of today's video. What we do need to talk about is that my mother started sending me gold ETFs and asking me when to buy. Now there's two things here. One, I am super proud of her for realizing that cash is trash, and number two, we are not going to talk about when to buy gold here either. Well, maybe we will talk about it later on in this video, but that's just something you have to keep watching for because I'm not sure if we're going to do it or not. But there is something that we do have to talk about in this video, and that is the main common feature between Bitcoin and gold. So the main common feature between Bitcoin and gold is scarcity. That is the thing that humanity craves for. Whether that be a rare painting, diamonds, a first edition Charizard, or gold. It's all rare, and it's something that humanity's crave for. We literally kill for them. It's codified in our DNA. So we know that we hate sharing what's rare. And if I ask you to share your one and only, your wife or your husband, after all that effort and striving that you put in to get this one human being that's only unique in all of human history, then you probably say no. So to really understand why gold is rare, we have to understand how gold is formed, and this will impress you. So how gold is formed is that billions of years ago, stars exploded or collided with one another, and the result of that was gold, and that gold crash landed into the early days of the earth, our home, and they were deposited in the earth until humans started to dig them up, right? So that is why gold is rare. So while we don't know how much gold there are on earth, we do know that there is a limited supply because it's not every day that we have stars exploding around us. I mean, the closest star that will probably explode around us is the sun, and when the sun explodes, then we would have a bigger concern on our hands than gold. So what about Bitcoin? We know that there is a limited supply of gold, and that is coded by nature. That is coded by the universe and stars crashing into each other and exploding. But how about Bitcoin? Bitcoin is also limited in supply. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that's ever going to be in existence, and that is coded by humans. And that is why Bitcoin, like gold, is scarce. So now that we understand all that, we can finally get to the main topic of today's video, Bitcoin versus gold. Which one is better? It depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at money-wise, then if you invested $1 into Bitcoin over gold 3 years ago, then you're 4 times better off just because you invested in Bitcoin over gold. So money-wise, Bitcoin is better than gold. But if we're talking about psychological or emotional damage, then you are better off with gold, because in the last 2 years, if you have invested in gold over Bitcoin, then you would be 40% better off doing that transaction, making that trade, just because you invested in gold over Bitcoin. So most people miss the point of Bitcoin and gold. You don't buy it to make money or to profit. That's how people who don't know how money works thinks of it. The main point of Bitcoin and gold is to hedge against inflation. You might have noticed that things around you have gotten really expensive lately, and the wealthy knows this. The wealthy wants to protect their money, and the way they protect their money is to buying into these assets, which are gold, Bitcoin, and even real estate. Those are all hedges against what we call inflation. Basically, things getting more expensive around us. You know, inflation really worries me because right now I still work a 9 to 5, and my parents are low income, and we still have a mortgage on our house. And growing up, we've always been a low-income family, and I would say that my parents have done really well to have our own house being financially illiterate. But the way things are going, they're gonna get killed. With inflation going the way it is, they're gonna get killed. That's the story. That's the full story. And that really sucks, because for me, being born as a Canadian-born Chinese, I'm the first generation being born in Canada to immigrant parents, right? And I still really hold that tradition of being being able to take care of your parents when they're older, when they're seniors, right? And right now with a 9 to 5, I don't think, and with inflation, I'm not able to do that. So this is really, really important to me. And the best way to take care of your parents and kids, if you have kids right now, is with money, right? A lot of people think that the government will take care of them when they're older. No, that's the wrong belief to have. The government only cares about themselves. The politicians that you vote for, all they care about is keeping their seat in office for the next term. So if you're counting on the government, they're the wrong people to count on. I just talked a little bit about kids. So a little bit of a backstory. I used to be a millennial that did not want kids, and that's until I got exposed to Jordan Peterson, which changed my whole idea about kids. Because like I said earlier, I want to be that person that takes care of my parents when they're older. So kids are insurance policies. And when you think about that, imagine all the millennials who are on that brainwashed thinking that they don't want kids. Imagine them in their 60s to their 80s, because they're gonna live that long and they have nobody to count on to take care of them because they don't have kids. Like, who are you gonna count on? You're gonna count on your friend who's as old as you, who have the same problems? No, that's not gonna happen. So when I think about that, when I think about that being a potential future, I'm like, that sounds like hell. I do not want to be there. So hopefully one day God will be gracious enough to make me a father and have my own kids. But until then, I really think that for myself, I want to get my financial priorities straight. I want to have more gold. I want to have more Bitcoin. That's what I'm working towards, right? And it's really a game that you're playing against the government, because what they're doing is they're being irresponsible. They're turning on the money printer, right? Money printer goes burp. And to do that, I need to learn how to properly hedge against inflation, which is what this whole entire video was about in the first place. So like I said in the beginning of this video, Bitcoin broke above 30,000 last week, and that indicates to us that it's maybe a bull run. I don't really think so. This is not financial advice in any way, but with a recession, we are in a recession. With a war that's happening between Russia and Ukraine, with OPEC cutting down oil production, the tension in the global climate is worse than ever. So I don't see any reason why Bitcoin is above 30,000. I think that Bitcoin and the S&P 500, they're gonna come back down. So I think that the market is still very, very manipulated, because we just saw 3 banks fail, and the response to that was the market goes up. Does this make any sense at all? It doesn't make sense to me. So my personal opinion, what I'm doing right now, not financial advice, is I'm still holding cash for when the market dips, and when the market dips, then I will buy more, and what I will buy more of is Bitcoin. So the topic of today's video, Bitcoin versus gold, which is better? The answer to that is it depends, right? It depends on what you understand better. I'm a millennial, I'm a software engineer, and I'm a personal finance YouTuber, so I go with Bitcoin. But my uncle, on the other hand, he is a boomer. He doesn't even understand how to use his smartphone and asks us questions all the time at dinner on how to use his smartphone. I mean, this is the first time I've seen your phone, dude. So he goes with gold. But whatever your choice is, Bitcoin versus gold, they're both good choices as hedges against inflation. And whatever it is, Bitcoin or gold, it's still better than the US dollar.